Welcome back to FUBARCADE. As has become tradition in all my videos, I'm going to start off with the apology for the video quality. My webcam decided today to be the day to break on me. And I normally don't come in front of the camera, but for this particular instance, I absolutely have to. And I have to get this out there as fast as humanly possible because of everyone talking about it. So sorry, video quality sucks, audio quality sucks. I know, I'm working on it. I'm working with outdated equipment. This is being recorded off of a cell phone. Okay, so I apologize for that. My bad. Now, that being said, wow. The news overnight from Nintendo and the Switch reveal. This was a lot better than I expected. Much, much, much better than I expected. Now, I'm saying that fully admitting I'm a Nintendo fanboy and a Nintendo apologist. I always have been. But wow, this went really, really freaking well. Nintendo, in my personal opinion, has never really put out a bad product. They've made some bad decisions. They've made some very bad decisions over the years. Biggest bad decision was the naming of the Wii U. People did not know it was a new system, and that's why the Wii U did not do very well. Nintendo did not promote it enough. People just were clueless as to its existence. I don't know why. And just like so many people, when they first started talking about the Switch coming, originally called the NX, people were really hyped up because they were like, oh, finally, this is like the first new system Nintendo's done since the Wii. No, it wasn't. There was the Wii U, just no one bought it. And it's a shame because the Wii U is a quality product. I freaking fell in love with it. It took one round. It took one freaking round of Splatoon for me to make the decision to go with the Wii U over the PS4 or the Xbox One. Now, traditionally, I'm more of a computer gamer and a Nintendo gamer. I've always had like whatever their portable system is, but I didn't have the Wii. I did have the GameCube. I did have the N64 after its life cycle was over. I had the Super Nintendo when it first came out, and I've enjoyed all the systems. I've never seen Nintendo do a bad system, and that includes the Wii U. A Virtual Boy, a little bit. It's a little bit, not that great. It was ambitious. It was a misstep, but not a huge mistake in the long run. But the Wii U, yeah, they messed up a little bit with the promotion of it. That being said, the promotion of this is going way, way freaking better. I mean, you have late night talk shows talking about it. You have like every other YouTuber who does video games really excited about it and like really anxious for it. Even people who are traditionally more PS4 and Xbox One YouTubers are excited about this because it looks that damn good. Now, Nintendo's been keeping us in the dark for the last 2 months, ever since we even found out that it was going to be named the Switch. So many rumors just every freaking where. You did not see this kind of hype or anticipation for the PS4 or for the Xbox One. Not the level that we're seeing for this in the relative short time since they gave the official announcement and today the reveal, and the system's going to be out in 6 weeks. 6 weeks, and we're going to have a new Nintendo system. I believe it's March 3rd. It's March 3rd for either the Switch or Breath of the Wild on Wii U. I'm not sure which. I know it's going to be March, so it's not that far away. It's not this huge length of time away. And Nintendo, like they always do, decided to reveal this in their own way. They didn't go through media outlets to do it. They did it themselves, and every media outlet was freaking hooked on this. I mean, game journalists, mainstream game journalists who haven't done anything about Nintendo for years were covering this because that's the level of anticipation from the fans. So right now, if I was Nintendo, I'd be, sitting pretty high on the hog. This is mind-blowing how excited people are for this, how people are hyped up for this. People are pre-ordering left and frickin' right. This was really the right exact moment for Nintendo to do this new system with how popular they are right now, in between the popularity of Pokemon Go, the popularity of the NES Classic Mini, the popularity of the Amiibos, the anticipation for Breath of the Wild, which we got another trailer for that. I'll talk about that in another video, but right now, for the Switch itself, for the system itself, many of the rumors looked like they were bull about being underpowered. It does not look underpowered. It looks freaking amazing from the gameplay footage that we have seen. We're not getting a port of Splatoon. We're getting a sequel. That's freaking amazing. Everyone, like, I'll go into that later in another video for Splatoon, but holy crap, just the reveal of all this, the controller, the console itself, what you're going to be able to do with it, all these reveals just went freaking mind-blowingly good. There's a capture button on the freaking controller. There's a capture button. Did you ever think you would see a capture button on a freaking Nintendo system? Nintendo, who has been like so anti YouTube and anti-Twitch, they're actually putting a capture button on their system, so which means it's probably going to have YouTube and Twitch support. Nintendo might be loosening the reins around their stuff a little bit and might not be so anti-YouTube and Twitch and streamer this generation. I really think that, because I think that did hurt Nintendo in this past generation, the popularity of YouTube and Twitch, and them not really understanding what it was and how it could help them. And yeah, stuff like YouTube can make or break your game, and Twitch. And not trying to, embrace that community has hurt them this generation. It was a misstep. But, they were legally in the right. I mean, if you're broadcasting their intellectual property, they do have a right to shut you down in certain cases. But yeah, broadcasters bring more attention to games. They're not trying to rip you off. It's not like piracy. And Nintendo is coming around to that way of thinking. Nintendo is Nintendo takes a very long time to move forward on anything. And on this system, we're finally going to see so many of the innovations that we've seen from the previous console generations finally implemented. We're going to see more internet connectivity. We're going to see more of a focus on online multiplayer. We're going to see more of a focus on third-party titles. We're going to see more of a focus on getting those hardcore gamers back, which is exactly what Nintendo had to do after so many of the third parties abandoned in the last generation. I think Nintendo is really learning from that mistake. And from everything that we're hearing from game publishers, they're really excited about this too. Game developers, someone at Bethesda said that the Nintendo Switch is the easiest out of the current generation of consoles to develop for. Which means if it's not, that means that it's going to be more likely that you're going to see those huge third-party titles that are coming out on Xbox One and PlayStation 4 on the Switch, which that's great. That's good for Nintendo. That's good for Nintendo fans. More of a player base. That's freaking good. Just so many great games that were on the Wii U that did not get the amount of attention that they should have. They're going to get it this coming generation because everyone's coming around again to regarding Nintendo as the leaders of the industry. Let's face it, Nintendo has the best intellectual properties. I mean, Xbox One and PlayStation 4 may outsell them in terms of consoles, but when it comes to first-party titles and exclusives, Nintendo is always going to be the other guys, in my opinion. And I think in a lot of gamers out there opinion. They have the most recognizable characters, the most broad appeal to people. I mean, they do all the kids stuff, and the kids love that, and the angst-ridden teenagers don't, but then the adults love the kids stuff too, because there's a era of nostalgia. The generation that grew up on Pokemon, on Mario, on Zelda, they're having their own kids now, and they're rediscovering these games with their kids. The Nintendo Mini being the hottest gift for Christmas this year. Did you ever think a plug-and-play system, a freaking plug-and-play system, was going to be a hot Christmas item. Those plug-and-play systems have been around since like the early 2000s, and like, it's a $20 piece of garbage that you buy, on the street or at Sam's Club or something. The hottest Christmas item is a Nintendo product. A standalone product. It's not even like you can expand on it. That thing, the Mini, was huge. Nintendo is back in the spotlight, getting the attention that they deserved, and the release of the Mini is really going to help out the Switch, I think. But that leads to another problem. Are there going to be enough units at launch? Some of you may not remember, but whenever the Wii originally came out, that was the hot Christmas item. And it was impossible to get one. People were like, radio stations were doing contests for just, the base system. People were spending upwards of $1,500 on eBay, so they could have that system Christmas morning. That's how rare they were. And the same thing happened with the Nintendo Mini, where people had to have it Christmas morning and paid absolutely ludicrous prices. The amount of hype that the Switch is seeing, I think that's gonna repeat itself, and I think it's launching at a time when both Sony and Microsoft are thinking about their next generation, and Nintendo, I think, is beating them to it. There's not much more technological advancements that can be done in the console industry. We're reaching a plateau, like the leap from third generation to fourth generation. The past two, there's been many generations, but these past two generations, from the PS3 to the PS4 and the Xbox One, and the Xbox 360, the Xbox One, there was not that much of a leap. It wasn't like the leap that graphics had when we leapt from 8-bit to 16-bit, or 16-bit to 32-bit, or 32-bit to 64-bit. We haven't seen that level of a leap. And there's a lot of reasons for that. A lot of the big AAA titles are nerfed on console so that the computer versions don't look bad. And because of the different hardware, there are frame rate caps and stuff like that. Like, they don't, like, if a video game company puts out a game, they don't want their PlayStation 4 version looking better than their Xbox version. They're nerfing it so they can move as many units as humanly possible. So this generation's AAA games have not had the huge leap in technology and graphics that previous generations did. And I, for one, don't give a crap about graphics. I care about gameplay. And everyone's been saying, like, the hardware that, Nintendo is going to be putting on this system is underpowered. It doesn't look that way. It looks great. We still don't know certain details, but I have a feeling, like, when you actually, like, take the thing apart, look under the hood, and see what's running in there, we're going to be pleasantly surprised. Nintendo is going to still make money on this and move units. They're not going to lose money on this. And you got to remember, with a lot of companies, Microsoft and Sony in particular, they take a loss on their systems when they first come out sometimes. They take a loss so they can, like, build a player base that will pay out over time. The people have to have those game systems in order to move all those other games. And Nintendo usually doesn't take a loss. Usually, whenever they come out with a new system, they're still going to make a profit for their shareholders, because some of the technology they use is a little bit older and a little bit cheaper to make it more affordable for people, and still show a profit. Now, this system that we're looking at right now, it looks perfectly fine, and I bet you under the hood there's going to be some very advanced stuff in there, and it's going to run very well. So stop worrying about hardware. Worry about gameplay. Don't worry about graphics. Worry about gameplay. And I know certain people out there, you can say that till the cows come home, and they're not going to listen. But trust me, Nintendo will be able to compete with the other two at this point. Now, and here's something that's ticking me off. Severely ticking me off. Biggest complaint that I've seen from mainstream game journalists, the mainstream game journalists who have been talking about Nintendo being dead for the past 3 years, and how Nintendo is, going to go the way of Sega. The thing that they're all focusing on is the price tag, the $300 price tag, which was announced. Are you out of your freaking mind? This system's going to be $300 at launch. And I just got an Xbox One S the day after Christmas. I got a good deal. I got what I thought was a good deal on it. It's the limited edition military green Xbox One S that came with Battlefield 1 and the Battlefield 1 like special edition with like all the extra DLC. Early adopters, is that what it was called, or early enlisters? That's I think that's a $70 game or an $80 game. I'm not 100% sure. I'd have to look it up. I got the Xbox One S, 1 TB, with that game and with a very nice headset right here for free when I bought that, and that was $350. And on top of that $350, I also had to get like the first year of the first 6 months of Xbox Live for $50, and all in all, well over $400 purchase. Now, Nintendo is coming out with a brand spanking new system. Keep in mind, the Xbox One, even if it is the Xbox One S, it's still an Xbox One. It's not that different from the original run. It's the half-generation console. It's the Xbox 1.5, basically. For over $400 for all of that. Brand new. And the Nintendo system is going to be launching for $300. That's a hell of a damn deal. That is a hell of a damn deal. Like Sony and Microsoft, whenever their systems first come out, you're usually looking at a $400 price tag or more, especially more if you get like the deluxe editions or the bundles that come out when the system first comes out. So $300 does not bother me at all, especially given that, once again, brand new system. Now, another thing, they are going to be doing a lot more online stuff, which, thank you. You're going to start doing all the stuff that, the other guys have been doing for the last 3 generations. Okay, about time. Now, they might be charging for this, though. So, I'm not sure how much they're going to charge, but I bet you anything it will be affordable. Nowhere near what Xbox or PlayStation charges their players for online play. Nintendo, and that's another thing. Nintendo seems to be putting more of an emphasis on online play and multiplayer, which is awesome. The way that Nintendo is handling online multiplayer now kind of sucks. As much as I love them, the way they handle online gaming kind of sucks. And they don't have like the very best of titles because the big guys did not put their titles on it. But they're learning from this mistake. We've seen with Splatoon, which is Nintendo's first major online multiplayer game. First major one. First major one and an original project. There's a huge community for Smash Brothers Online and for Mario Kart Online, but those were established brands. Splatoon, from its inception, was supposed to be a multiplayer online focused game. And as far as that, Splatoon is one of the best damn games I have ever played. Not just shooters. One of the best online games I've ever played. It's awesome. It's definitely in my top 5 favorite games of all time. That's how much I love Splatoon. And they're going to be bringing that to the Switch. I believe day one. I might be wrong. I'm getting conflicting reports on what bundles are going to be available. So until I know exactly what it's going to what the different bundles are going to be, and if we're going to get Splatoon day one, either way, Splatoon being one of the first titles in those first few months that the system comes out is going to help it a lot. So I'm just excited. I hope you're excited. I'm going to be making a couple other videos today talking about specific titles and like littler things. But thank you. This was just the one about the console itself. Thank you for watching, and can't wait to see what happens next.